This episode of the SwitchCast is produced by Pascal Tiemann, our honored patron and SwitchCat.
Hey everybody, I'm Casey.
And I'm JV.
And this is the SwitchCast, the podcast for the Nintendo Switch lover in you. And we have a full-fledged episode for you today. We got some game reviews. JV's been playing some fun stuff. I've been playing some stuff. And and we have a whole lot of news and crazy updates. And of course we have your Community Pulse to go over anything that you guys have been wanting to ask us for over this week.
And we've got a bunch of good questions too. I think this week's Community Pulse is actually pretty interesting.
Yes, yes. And I'm also excited that we've been starting to we're probably going to start playing around with a few more interviews incorporated into our podcasts now with some developers and stuff. We've gotten like invites to do them before, but I was kind of having a hard time working out where to put them in the show.
Yeah, exactly. And I think integrating them into the actual shows would benefit a lot of people who just casually listen and don't expect these interviews to come.
Yes. So what we'll probably do is, going forward, episodes where we have a guest, they'll take in the spot of the Community Pulse, but instead of asking you for questions for us, we're going to pose questions and we'll tell you who's coming on the show. We'll ask you for questions to ask our guest for the episode. So when that happens, definitely going to want to check out the Facebook group where we're going to post who's coming on and, you know, get a good question in for these people who are either making the games or otherwise involved in the industry.
Yeah, and I'm excited to get more of these out to you guys because we have a couple lined up for the future. It'll be fun. And if any of you listeners know somebody who might want to be on the show, who's either a developer, big, small, or maybe they work for like a gaming tournament, anything like that, give me an email, kc@theswitchcast.com, and just suggest it. I'm all ears when it comes to ways to make the show more awesome. So that's that. Yeah, absolutely. Did you grab any good deals over Cyber Monday, Black Friday? So I had my wisdom teeth taken out last week, so talking is still kind of weird. You pay steep for your games, man. I do. But it's great because this year's Cyber Monday and Black Friday were very, very online focused. You most of the deals you can get by purchasing the games from their website. Yeah. I remember last year I was annoying because I feel like a lot of the deals had to I had to go to Target for the deals. And I had to show them the thing online. Like if I just went for you to get the deal itself. Yeah, like I couldn't just go to Target and get the deal. I had to find it online and then still go to the store and tell them I saw the price online to get it. It was like so weird. Yeah, that's a bit of a pain, but so far it's been awesome. I've purchased a lot of the Best Buy Black Friday deals. I picked up Xenoblade Chronicles for not Xenoblade Chronicles. Early access. Dragon Ball Xenoverse too. I picked that up from Best Buy for about $20 on sale. That's a great deal. And that even I thought it was great. And my Gamers Club Unlocked 20% discount applied to the deal as well. So it was awesome. I picked that up really quickly. A lot of people in the community swear by that Gamers Club from Best Buy, right? Yeah, I advocate for it quite a bit because I actually like it a lot better than Amazon Prime or GameStop, and I don't want to sound like a Best Buy shill, but it's a really good deal, Casey. No, a good deal's a good deal, man. Yeah, definitely want people to know about that. And so just very, very briefly, that's like a subscription, or you pay for the year, but you get certain discounts or something like that? You pay $30 for 2 years of membership, which is actually a pretty good deal. And then once you get that membership applied to your phone number, your accounts, every single video game purchase is 20% off, which is great. It makes most $60 games cost about $47, and the 20% discount applies to amiibos too. So Best Buy Gamers Club is great. Please pay us for this promotion. Oh, very cool, very cool. All right. I will possibly have to check that out since I usually
only bought games very rarely in years before. I would rent mostly and maybe buy one. But now, obviously, I'm buying
more
games.
Than you expected.
Yeah, like I'm buying at least a game a month or two, renting where I can, borrowing when I can, or getting the review copies when I can. But I'm still, we're buying them for the show.
We're buying a bunch of games, yeah.
Yeah, and it probably will pay for itself over time.
It does. It costs $30 for 2 years, not just 1 year, and you save about $15 on your first purchase. So that already covers a year. And if you buy more than one game throughout the year, it's already saving you money. It's pretty great.
Speaking of the year, I did purposely put off posting the poll I wanted to have for the SwitchCast Choice Award for Game of the Year.
Oh, right. Yeah, I do think there are a couple games still coming out that might be eligible for this, right?
Yes, so I wanted to wait till December 1st, mostly because I feel Xenoblade Chronicles is such a big title that I definitely want it to be included. So, the poll's all set. I have not posted it only because once Xenoblade Chronicles is out, I can officially post this and say it is officially included. And then from every year going forward, I will basically say December 1st is the cutoff for a game to release to be included in the votes.
I think that's a good standard for us to set on future. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also going to have two questions, actually. I'm going to have Game of the Year and Indie of the Year. So if you have a favorite indie game for the Switch that, obviously, some of them might get overshadowed by the main, AAA first party or third party titles. I think it's worthy to also throw in the Nindie of the Year just so that some of those indie titles might get recognition as well.
Absolutely. I really think Nindies are worth highlighting by themselves because it's a really prominent part of the Nintendo Switch library now.
I started even thinking of doing all the different subcategories like RPG of the year, rhythm game of the year, but you know what? It's really hard to separate games into certain categories.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily worth it considering we don't have that many.
Yeah, especially when you start looking at like RPG, like so many things now count as like kind of RPG because they have elements of it. Like I never consider Zelda an RPG series, but
some people do.
Lots of people do, yeah, definitely.
And people who argue for it being an RPG have valid points too.
Yeah,
so
I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just one of those things. I feel like it's too hard to categorize a lot of games into one genre or another. So I'm not even going to bother with that. Game of the year, Nindie of the year.
I think those are two categories we can stick with.
Yes. And we will have an other option. So if there's a title I don't list on the survey that you'd want to vote for, you can do a write-in vote there. So.
Yeah. Write-in votes are eligible.
All right. So let's hear what your game of the week were, shall we? And move on to the game time?
Let's do it.
All right, you mugs. I know you got the games. Tell us what you've been playing and where'd you stash the goods.
That's actually not bad, Casey. That's not bad. And if you guys haven't guessed already, I've been playing L.A. Noire. I picked it up when it was originally released, and I picked it up. I haven't actually beat it when it first came out back in 2011. But now that I picked it up for the Switch, I've been playing it like crazy, and I have to say I really dig this thing.
My most experience I've had with this game is listening to the Watch Out for Fireballs episode where they go through the entire plot. And I was riveted just to them analyzing the story and talking about it. So, and at that time, I never thought it would come to a Nintendo system.
Yeah, but whoops, here it comes. It's honestly quite a groundbreaking game. If you haven't played it before, L.A. Noire is an open world detective game. Came out in 2011, and honestly, it's still impressing me now. In essence, you're a cop that's turned into a detective named Cole, who's assigned various cases for which to investigate throughout the game. The cases play out similarly to an adventure game, and even more specifically, like the investigation phase of an Ace Attorney game, Casey.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, it plays out almost exactly like that phase of game. You essentially travel to various locations, looking around the crime scene or specific relevant areas in the world, and gather clues to pin down what happened. And along the way, you run into witnesses or relevant persons of interest, and you end up questioning them for more information on the case at hand.
Now, are the crimes are generally murders in here, or does it like run more of a gamut?
It is a wider gamut than an Ace Attorney game. It can be a missing persons case, or a murder, or anything really. The breadth of cases that you experience is quite wide, and it might even change mid-case.
You know, it's funny because like one of my favorite cases in Phoenix Wright was the mask case, where it's just a bank robbery instead of a murder, just because it was so different, and I just liked the doing something else for a change. So it
was nice. Well, and I don't want to spoil one of the cases, but it's not really that big of a deal for this specific spoiler. But one of the situations that you run into is that you're assigned to a murder case. As you investigate and pull out the clues, you kind of realize that maybe this isn't a murder. Maybe this is an entire situation, entirely different situation. And uncovering that was really interesting to me.
Now, it also has kind of that same, I want to say, rhythm to it, where it's like a built-up investigation, revelation. Oh,
right,
this is
exactly.
tense. And then the confrontation.
Okay, looking at this game, you see that it is an open world game, kind of similar to GTA. This is from Rockstar after all. But no, I honestly feel like this harkens more to an adventure game that we're more familiar with, Casey. Like an adventure style game instead of really focusing on the open world element of it.
Well, actually, it's funny that I forgot that that's even an aspect of the game. From everything that I've listened to about it and seen of it, the fact that there's an open world that you can get into a car, drive around to the different locations, and I know even sometimes like events will happen in transit between places.
Right.
Though that's never been something that like stood out as part of the game, because I always just picture it as, okay, scene 1, find these clues, go to scene 2 to interrogate this person, and do that until you have the clues, and then finally you have to decide, all right, it's time to make an accusation and get try somebody.
It's much more story driven than other Rockstar games, and you can even skip the open world altogether and fast travel from point to point within each case, Casey. That's just how like secondary the open world aspect of this game is.
Actually, I was just going to ask you. I was literally just about to ask you, well, what if they just took out the travel and just gave you the location selection like you have in a Phoenix Wright game? Would it change it that much?
No, it really doesn't. You essentially do a scene in a location, investigate or interrogate in that area. Then if that area is done, you walk to your car. You can have your partner drive you to a location, and you pick the location and it teleports you there to the next scene. And you can just keep doing that throughout the entire game, and it doesn't change the experience that much. Okay. If there is something that's relevant that happens while you're driving, it'll still play a cutscene of you driving around until that relevant thing happens, and then it fades to black and goes to the new location.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I thought that was great, because I do like open world games, but in this specific one, it didn't really feel like it was super necessary.
Yeah, like, are there things to do, like, outside of the main locations or plot? Like, the main reason you have those open worlds in other games, like a GTA or something, is that, there's a reason to go explore and just do this mini game on the side. Is there anything along those lines in this that would be worth just going off the beaten path for?
There kind of is. There are random street crimes that you can take care of here and there, and they're scattered around. And they're not necessarily something you would run into unless you're driving around like that.
I gotcha.
But they're not super necessary. And honestly, while I'm playing the game and going through the story's actually riveting enough for me to just want to go to the next point of the story.
I'm guessing then the voice acting and all the actual animations of the characters, they really sell it to you too?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually what was groundbreaking about this game at the time. Just due to the level of motion capture that each character has, you can see just the level of expression that the characters are giving off, which is spectacular and even pivotal to the gameplay itself.
I am a little envious of you playing this because I do feel like I would like to play.
I think you would like this game, honestly. In
the Phoenix realm, yeah, in this Phoenix Wright kind of genre, but without the jokey kind of overtones that Phoenix Wright does to lighten the mood, and this actual voice acting and animated character acting rather than just the still frames and occasional sound bites.
I agree. It's really great when you interrogate a witness or you speak to a person of interest. You have a discussion with them, and sometimes you give them a question, and after a question happens, you're prompted with 3 options, which is good cop, bad cop, or accuse. They state their answer to the question, and then based on their physical expression, you can kind of figure out if they're lying or if they're telling the truth. And that's part of what's interesting about it.
And you don't have to use some weird technological gadget that reads their emotions for you?
No, you can see that when they're saying something and they're saying it with confidence, and you see that their chin is up and looking at you directly, you kind of feel like they're telling the truth. So you click on good cop. If they're doing some weird tics that kind of give off that they're lying, you can go bad cop and aggressively doubt the witness. And accuse is just like doing an objection within Phoenix Wright. You flat out accuse them of lying to you, which prompts you to bring up a previous clue that you found to prove that they're lying. And from there, the discussion progresses based on what you uncover.
Are the cases all linked in some sort of overarching plot line?
So far, it's not. I haven't gotten as deeper into the game where there would be interlocking cases, but I believe that does happen later on. I do like that the interactions and the discussions with people aren't one-dimensional either. You might not even get the answer right during a conversation, but if the conversation plays out in a certain way, or you recover from accusing incorrectly, you can actually get more or less information based on that discussion, which points you to a different direction in the case. It's quite awesome, actually.
That's really cool. Oh, what's the music like in this game?
So Noire is set in the 1940s, so it does have that kind of style. Has that musical style, and all the technology is based on the 1940s. I also forgot how really racist and bigoted people were back then. It was kind of. I wouldn't say it's funny. It was just interesting to be living in that era once again.
Okay, so they incorporate it, but not in a way that would be like, oh, this game is offensive. It's like, no, this is
the era.
They're being accurate to the time. They're not condoning it. They're just people were dumber back then about these things.
Yeah. Like the way they discussed and treat women back then, and minorities and all that type of stuff. The way they discuss things, it seems true to how it used to be, and it's not necessarily offensive, but it's definitely something that was something to point out that I thought was interesting.
That's a good thing to mention, though, because that's a disclaimer for anyone who's going to pick this up, who, that is something that you want to know is going to be present when you go into it.
There are, adult themes in this game, so it's definitely a rated M game. There's drug use, there's crime, there's, sexuality, there's murder. So it's not a family-friendly game necessarily, so if you're a parent, be careful with your children. I honestly think this is a game worth picking up, and it's a Rockstar game where you technically play as the good guy, which is
true.
Pretty unique in its own way.
That is very true. Yes, I will put this on my list of games that I do want to get around to, actually, because I everything about it seems like it's up my alley, and it's just I feel like it's a game I spoiled for myself. But thankfully, I have a very bad memory.
So, how in depth did they go with their story, with going through the story?
Oh no, they take it apart fully. It's a total. There is no spoiler warnings on the Watch Out for Fireballs podcast. It is a book club essentially of video games, and so no, they went into every major event that happens and analyze even some of the side stuff. Yeah.
Did they break it down within each conversation? Like, did they discuss how each conversation went and the directions that it could have gone from there?
Most, any of the ones where pretty much they go to any of the major beats that you have to go through, and like they'll say like, if you falsely accuse this guy, you'll get this information. And
gotcha. Okay. Hopefully you don't remember that then, because that stuff is part of it.
I don't think I remember. I remember the overarching story, but I think the details, the minutiae, I actually will have to know to beat the game. I think my memories are going to not be very vivid on those, so I should still be able to enjoy it, even though I know the
overall outcome. Okay. And honestly, this game is really great, and I'm impressed that it came out in 2011. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that it's not as popular as all of the other Rockstar games.
Yeah, okay. It's always been though like critically acclaimed. Like it's been like one of those games that even if the players haven't picked it up in like supermass, it's just one of those games that like reviewers especially kind of like give it a lot of accolades, and it's I guess
classic. in a way I can understand that, because the investigation aspect of the game is amazing, and that's what I personally love about it. But the gunplay and the controls and the chases, they're pretty, they're pretty mediocre stuff.
Okay,
but
cool.
Yeah. So I guess if you're really looking for gunfights and high action, this isn't necessarily the game that'll scratch that itch for you. But if you love investigation or adventure game style puzzle solving, then check this out.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. I'm playing a game this week that it's hard to go into after binging Mario Odyssey for so long.
Oh, yeah? What game is this?
This is Unbox Newbie's Adventure, and this is a 3D platformer, which, just that alone makes it hard to try to follow up playing after Mario. Right. Even though this did come out, I think, a little before Mario, but I didn't get to really, sink my teeth into it until now.
I think this was an old a Nintendo, or not a Nintendo, it was a Steam game back in 2016.
Yes, this was also on PS4 and Xbox, I believe, as well earlier. Yeah. So, yeah, this is just a port. But it is a 3D platform with a couple of interesting ideas. It has this cute character cast. They're all cardboard boxes with faces on them. And there's some... Yeah, there's some story about their whole members of this like shipping company, and this is a world with sentient boxes that deliver themselves to people, I guess. I'm not sure what they're delivering themselves to, but anyway, you're sent to some island because there's a bunch of your box people have been kidnapped by some rebel-y boxes, and who cares about the story? The main thing is you go on this island and you're trying to collect things. Instead of power moons, you're collecting stamps or golden tape, and they're scattered all over these like locations you visit. Like you start off at a tropical island, and there's 300 rolls of golden tape. There's 100 of these stamps and other things and people you have to rescue. When you get enough of the stamps, you can unlock a boss to fight, and when you beat the boss, you get a big stamp, and eventually you unlock the next world to go to.
Okay.
So it's not a bad concept. It's kind of cool that you control it a lot differently. It has two notable differences. Since you're a box, you just roll everywhere. So you're not running. You just kind of roll, you jump. You have this interesting little jump mechanic in that you can kind of double jump, or rather like sextuplet jump, I guess. I don't know. It's like you double jump 6 times at max.
Okay, so does that mean you have a lot of control of your character in the air?
You can go far. I would not say you have a lot of control because you're very inaccurate. You're very wild, especially when you're flying around. When you land, if you hit it at different angles, the box moves in awkward ways. It kind of gets away from you sometimes.
Okay. So is that intentional uncontrollability or is it just a problem with the controls themselves?
I think it's somewhat intentional. They want you to have this weird kind of like awkwardness to movement because you are this rolling box, but it's compounded by the fact that the game is a little glitchy. Like you'll get stuck on things pretty often. You'll get trapped behind rocks that you shouldn't be behind. This is all made obvious because they have even a respawn button. If you hold down a certain button, you will just pop back at the last checkpoint you hit. I think that's their way of saying, we know that you're going to hit glitches, so we just gave you a way to instantly teleport back to some checkpoints.
Okay, I guess that's a pretty economical way to solve that problem.
Yeah.
I guess it's more of a workaround, really.
Yeah, but the actual way you control yourself is a little weird in that you jump with the R button and you double jump with the L button.
Okay.
Which is just like, why can't I just jump and double jump with like the X button or something? Why do I have to use these two different shoulder buttons for two different parts of the same action? So that
does sound a little weird. There is already convention for double jumping. Why would they want to go around that standard?
Yeah. And the other thing about double jumping is it also kind of uses your health. Like you get 6 boxes at max, and like when you double jump, the way you're double jumping is you shoot yourself out of your box, like you're shedding a layer of cardboard. But each time you do that, you expend 1. So you could double jump up to 6 times and then you're out of extra boxes. But they have like repairs everywhere, things to restore your box numbers just scattered everywhere. Okay. So it's pretty easy to go back up to 6. But it's just kind of weird in that, like, I do this to go everywhere, but every time I want to do it again, I have to, like, roll around and recollect these items. I just feel like it should just auto-regenerate every, like, so often.
That also doesn't sound ideal based on what you describe it, because the double jumps don't even sound like they necessarily give you the control that you want. So the fact that you're sacrificing actual life for that little bit of movement, it seems not worth it.
They do give you, like, distance. Like, you can traverse. I almost feel like this would be nice to have in some of the games like this. Like, you can easily get to the top of any mountain or cross any body of water to the next island over just because you can quintuple jump all the way over across like an ocean pretty easily.
Okay.
But at the same time, like I said, it's just like, it's weird. Like when you land, you have to find more items, and then there's bad guys that don't hurt you. It's weird. Like I run into these villains boxes and they attack me and they push me around, but they never do damage. And at the same time, if I touch water, I'm instantly dead because you're cardboard.
You get soggy.
Yeah, it's just really weird, especially when you're on an island. It's really frustrating. Like, again, after playing Mario, where diving into water is just part of the fun. It's really weird to just insta-die every time I fall into the water, and my movement is not precise enough to make me feel like that makes sense.
Okay, I can definitely understand that. Are there any other aspects of this game that you actually found enjoyable, though?
I like customizing the box. One of the things that you get as you explore and you find stuff, and there's a lot of nooks and crannies to dig up, and there's missions to unlock, like races you can do, or other missions like collect these stamps in under a minute to finish this mission. You'll get custom options, and you can make your box any combination of this mustache, this hat, this cape, or this color, all sorts of things like that, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
I'll say, though, the thing that's really been troublesome so far is, though, the loading times are super long. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Really long loading times, and I do not like the graphic look. Like, the style's cool. The characters are like it's a cute design or whatever with these boxes. But I feel like it's really not that sharp on the Switch. I don't know if it looks better or sharper. Especially in handheld mode, it feels grainy and blurry. It just does not come across that good looking. And I don't expect it to be Super Mario Odyssey level like Christmas. All right, fine. It is a smaller studio, but I don't know. It just does not feel like it's that
cool level of quality. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, it doesn't sound like you're particularly sweet on the game, Casey. Can you recommend this to people?
If you are the kind of person who really likes collector completion games, if you love 3D platformers, this will be a game. This will fill that desire, right? If you've beaten Mario Odyssey, or maybe and that's you just want more of that kind of action, okay. I do not think this is a game that you will enjoy if this is, just something you're looking to pick up as a generally fun game, and if you're not dedicated to that genre. If I didn't really care for it. I did not care. I played it like a couple of worlds, and I was just kind of like not super entertained. I got tired of controlling this guy, and I got tired of the worlds weren't that interesting. The missions weren't that varied. Like every world in Mario had a kind of its own thing and something really cool to like discover here and there. Here it was just like, all right, I'm in a jungle. It's nothing really special. It's just an ordinary jungle with these, kind of dumpy looking buildings on it. Not really that inspiring. And when I say dumpy, like it's supposed to look like that. Like it's supposed to look like the favelas in like Brazil or something. But it's like, it doesn't really inspire me to like want to explore them that much.
Now here's the rhyme factor that I want to bring up. This game is $40 on the Switch, but it's $20 on the PC and PlayStation 4. Do you think the portability of the Switch is worth picking up double the price elsewhere?
I would not pay $40 for this game. I would not. I'd pay $20 at most. And I would even say that I would only feel it was worth it if you're going to play the multiplayer mode, which is kind of fun. It has this split screen multiplayer mode where there's both collector, like, you have a certain time limit, whoever grabs the most of this item before time runs up, sort of thing. And there's also a battle mode, though the other versions of it, like the PC version, goes up to 4 players. I believe the Switch version only has 2 players.
I did check, and it actually does go up to 4 players on the Switch, though I feel like that many players on the Switch might cause some performance issues.
If you think that you'll use that, because it does look really fun. I did try out with 2 players, and it's a pretty cool thing. If you're going to milk that mode, I think that alone is actually really fun enough to maybe make it more worthwhile. But again, if you're just playing this as a general casual gamer who is just going to play the solo mode, you're probably definitely not $40 worth.
Yeah, $40 physical, $30 digital. That's kind of much for this.
Yeah. So, that's it. Not a recommendation unless, again, you are a real hardcore collector fan and 3D platformer.
All right. Okay, sounds good.
But something I did actually enjoy. Did you get to try out the 9 Parchments demo this week?
No, I actually have not. I've been so knee-deep into LA Noire. I haven't tried that out.
Okay, well, yeah, I have been enjoying this. I downloaded it last week. I believe this comes out the 5th of this month. We'll have that in the new releases section, but I believe it comes out December 5th.
Yeah, so next week.
And this was only a 1-player version of it, but it will be 4 players. I think this is pretty cool. It's a gauntlet-style twin-stick shooter almost, in that you go through stages. Your characters, you get to pick from different characters, and each one of them has a different array of 3 spells that they can use.
Right.
And it seems like there's a couple different types. There's like ones that shoot a beam. There's ones that kind of shoot little projectiles. Like the one of the characters I had, he shoots fireballs that when they hit the enemy, they do an AoE attack where they land. And then he has like a laser beam that freezes them slowly. The longer you hold it on them, the slower and more icy they get. And then he has like this poison grenade that he can throw and creates an AoE poison field. And some enemies are immune to certain elements, so it's good to have other people who can like make up for elements that you don't cover. You can heal each other with certain spells and whatever. And you fight bosses and all that whatnot. And it's got a cool style. And I was having fun with it 1 player. I think that I would really like to play this 4-player.
Yeah, I remember seeing the teaser of this game back when the Switch was announced. And I knew right from the get-go that this is going to be a game our Discord chat would love.
Yeah.
I think it would be great multiplayer fun, especially on Discord voice chat.
Oh, true. Yeah. Because you can do online play with people, and that's going to be key. Each of your spells has their own separate mana bar, so you can't just use the same spell the whole time. Like, you'll use one spell, and then it'll drain. You're like, all right, I got to switch over to my other spell.
So it encourages diversity of spell usage. I like that.
Yeah, right. And there's some good combos. Like, I did see some good combos. Like, I would cast the AoE poison field, and then I would use the ice beam to slow them down and stick them in there.
Now, Frozen Byte is the game developer that's making 9 Parchments, and they actually made Trine, which is a co-op platforming game that had relatively similar combo elements, and I really enjoyed Trine, so I'm looking forward to playing 9 Parchments in multiplayer, definitely.
So someone was inviting you to play Portal Knights with them this week, weren't they?
Oh my gosh, there's just so many people inviting us to play games with them. It's part of the fun, honestly, so we'll see how it goes. I have been looking forward to 9 Parchments for a while, though, so I might pick that up as priority.
Sadly, I still have not been able to get anyone to play team battles in Pokken.
Pokken tournament?
I couldn't, I just couldn't get, I even went to look for randos, and I could not get a random person to make a team battle with me. I'm very
I'm wondering if there are different factors to that reasoning. I wonder if people even realize that online team battles have been added recently.
It isn't incredibly obvious, so I think that's possible. It is just a simple option on the menu. It might not be obvious what it is.
Yeah. Also, the primary tournament mode for Pokken is single multiplayer, so maybe people primarily stick to that in order to practice for actual physical tournament play. That's also possible.
Maybe for some people. It could be for some people. I think probably the greatest factor is just the fact that a lot of people
don't
want
realize
to spend their time. I think a bigger thing is that most people just want to get good at one character, and they feel like learning 2 characters is going to divert time from getting better at that one character, where they just want to have one guy that they can beat everyone with. Why should I be okay at 3 characters? You know? That's
actually a trap when learning a competitive fighting game. You definitely want to try to get your hands on as many characters as possible. Not even just to use them as your main character. You want to know how they control in order to be able to counter them properly.
Yeah.
But some people don't necessarily pick that up. So that could be part of it.
Well, I'm hoping word spreads and maybe more people are just training and I can get into some team battles in the future.
Yeah, definitely you're keeping the Pokken dream alive, Casey.
All right, let's move over to the news rundown. Hit up that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Pride keeps us strong today. Glory will be with us. Now the time has come to fight and seize the day.
News rundown, and as always, we're going to top things off with the updates, and we have quite a few little updates to mention here, starting off with ARMS.
Yes, ARMS 4.1 is coming today. Today, you guys listening to this today, it's coming out today.
In the future for us.
In the future for us, tomorrow for us, today for you all. Yes. But it's doing quite a bit of balance adjustment. Apparently, there's added elements to the game. And
it's been hinted at. They said something, there's something new, but it sounds like there might be a new element.
Yeah, which is what was translated, so we'll see how that goes. Also, apparently, Springbot's coming out for the game, which people are already saying should be my new main. I wonder why. I wonder why people think Springbot should be my new main, Casey.
It's funny, because it reminds me of how they always, CGP Grey, they always make him out to look like a robot when they animate him, because he's never shown his face the YouTuber, and so they always associate him with robots. And you are kind of our CGP Grey in that. I mean, you kind of are a human robot.
It's funny you should say that, because one of the memes at my workplace is that I'm secretly a robot. So
okay,
and that just came out naturally. I didn't even inspire that in any way. So yeah, that's my thing. Robots are my thing, guys.
And Springman won the first party clash.
I'm surprised, but good on Springman.
Yeah, but by a decent margin too. I wonder how much of that has to do with how many people favored him as opposed to, how often he won in competition.
That's always going to be the case when it comes to tournaments. You don't know whether a character is just popular and that's why they did so well, or if there is actually a balancing situation involved. So
yes.
Yeah, but good on Springman regardless.
A new Stardew Valley update came out today, and this added a few things that people are going to be pretty happy about. Faster saving time. So
Absolutely.
That was that both of us complained about that.
Yes, thank you.
And it looks like even when it's saving, there is some sort of animation. I have not loaded it today, so I didn't see what it actually puts there when you're saving, but it's something to look at other than a blank screen.
Yeah, it used to just be a black screen, and it always gave me a little bit of anxiety because I couldn't tell if the game froze or if it was still saving. So I'm glad that there's at least an animation indicator for that.
Yeah. In addition, some Rumble features were added, so that's in there, and you can now do some video recording with that as well.
Awesome. I want more games to get video recording.
And, of course, a few bug fixes. I'm sure there's a lot to squash. In fact, they listed quite a few that were adjusted. It's just funny whenever I walk into my shed, for some reason, if I, open the box I keep right near the door, it always checks the thing that you make beer in there, the keg. It checks the keg in the opposite top left corner, as if I was I don't know, it warps where I'm touching for some reason.
That's really weird, but okay, bug fixed. Good. Now, speaking of video recording, apparently video recording is coming to Shovel Knight as well. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear more non-Nintendo games getting Switch video recording.
Yeah, we could look at some more gameplay videos of that soon.
Yep.
You looks like you got Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 at just the right time to get involved with the new Hero Coliseum.
Yeah, it looks like it's a new free mode that lets you gather character figurines to battle in the new Hero Coliseum mode. Definitely interesting. Kind of reminds me of those gacha mobile games that you get and play on your phone.
It kind of reminds me of, there's those arcade games, like the Pokemon arcade game where you would put the pieces down and then it would kind of auto fight depending on where you place them on the board.
Pokemon Batrio?
That's the one, yeah, that Batrio.
Yeah.
And it's like that. You can customize the characters and what attacks, but then they play out in a 3D battle. After you play your characters and the opponent plays theirs, they show a battle scene in 3D with the characters that sometimes pops up a quick time event that you can enter in and, increase the damage your guys do during it. But you don't control that. It's purely based on the strategy and your quick time event skills.
Honestly, I'm actually really jealous of Japan because I love this phenomenon, and I would be really happy if this type of thing took off in America, but it probably won't.
I feel like American gamers want a little more control and ability to react. It's interesting. I feel like I could like this. Maybe not in a Dragon Ball Z kind of setting, but
the Pokemon Batrio, I think it'd be fun. Now, I have done something similar in Amiibo battles where you would train your Amiibo in Super Smash Brothers and then fight other people's Amiibos without actually directly controlling them. It plays similarly to that here, but it's just not quite as popular a phenomenon. But we're getting it in Xenoverse 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, were you familiar with the Sanic meme?
Of course I am. Sanic.
I've never seen this before, actually.
Really?
Or maybe I've seen it. I just didn't know it was a meme.
Yeah, it's an old internet meme where it's apparently someone's really cruddily drawn fan art of Sonic called Sanic, and it's been a long time internet meme, and how the Sonic forces are really embracing this thing.
Yeah, so apparently you can get a DLC T-shirt with this character on it. Just nice to see, Sega able to have fun with it and acknowledge this in that way. And lastly, we have our first, or our next little update of Splatoon 2. We're actually officially in Splatoon 2.0 now, and there's a whole bunch of stuff comes with that. That's where they've now officially added the new hairstyles, the new music to the battles.
Kind of crazy. New gear, new amiibo functions. Player rankings have been upgraded and changed quite a bit. And it's just a lot of stuff. It really inspires some people to check out the game again after they've put it down for other pastures.
Yes, and we also have an outline of how the future updates are going to come with the other stages. In early February, we're going to get the Arowana Mall. In January, we're going to get the Schellendorf Institute. In mid-December, so probably next we're going to get the Walleye Warehouse.
Yeah, I love that they're continuing to add support to this game. It shows that Nintendo really believes in Splatoon, and I'm glad about it.
So that's three new levels in the next 3 months there. And we also just got the Hydra Splatling gun.
Yeah.
I have not gotten to try this out. I have not put in Splatoon for about a week, so I haven't tried this out. But the Splatling's my gun, and I want to see what this one does differently. I do not know what this adds to its repertoire.
Yeah, but go check it out.
Yeah. All right, in regular news, right, we have the holiday tour going around, and actually, I just want to mention someone from the PR group that's been promoting it reached out to us and asked us to mention that this week and next week they're going to be in the King of Prussia Mall in Pennsylvania, in King of Prussia, and it sounds like it's going to be one of those setups where they have the booth, people are going to be able to play the game, and they're going to be showing off, I said, Mario Odyssey, but in addition to the normal stuff, you're also going to be able to compete for a variety of prizes in a little bit of a Mario tournament. They're going to give you a time limit in which to try to find as many Power Moons as you can, and they're going to be doing several of those. So, and of course, if you log in with your My Nintendo account, you will get some platinum points. They're going to be in different cities for a while, so we're going to keep updating you guys what cities they're visiting when, in case you want to go and check them out yourself.
Yeah, I think this is just so cool, because not only is it a great demo for people who haven't picked up Super Mario Odyssey, but the fact that they're doing a tournament and a bit of a competition makes it so that people who already have the game should still go and compete and show off their Super Mario Odyssey skills for prizes. I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. So if you want to find out more about that, we have posted the event in our Facebook group. So just visit our SwitchCast Facebook group, link in the show notes, and we'll go from there. And like I said, more of these to come.
How cool.
I wanted to mention, actually, I finally saw something that has maybe swayed my opinion towards the positive more on Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh, I feel like it's the new trailer. Is it the new trailer?
The new trailer about the story.
There you go. Boom. Goes the dynamite.
It's just, this is what I wanted to see from the Direct, and I feel like they should have done it the other way around. I feel the Direct should have been about this, where they actually showed off, I don't know, more of the emotion behind the character. They showed off more of the relationship between the two main protagonists there. A little bit of the love going on. Like, I felt it. I felt like, all right. It kind of made me think of a little bit like, if anyone knows the Lunar series, I kind of got that vibe from these characters now, where, one of the characters is clearly like inhuman, but kind of has that feeling of like an alien almost, where she's trying to learn about what it is to be a human, and from the main character. And, he kind of, he's obviously falling for her. I like a good love story in these games, and And that sells it for me. That makes me more invested and interested in seeing what's going on, rather than just we're quirky anime characters fighting crazy monsters.
Right. It's definitely good for them to release something like this because, like we mentioned previously, you really didn't get that much of the story in the Nintendo Direct itself. Now, for me, I've played Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and Xenoblade Chronicles X, so I know that this studio will likely deliver a story that would be satisfying to me. So, when I saw the sizzle reel of the characters in the previous Direct, I wasn't concerned that there was going to be some depth to the story and the character building. But for someone like you, Casey, who hasn't really delved into that world before, I think it was justified for you to be skeptical, more skeptical until this trailer came out.
Yeah, I always got to go in, like, I have to have my guard up because there's a lot of games that I'm, I don't like to just get excited for no reason. I don't like to be let down. I like to go in with my guard up, and I need them to really know how to sell it to me. And yeah, this is it. At least it came out before the game came out. Right. That's fine and good. But we have decided before the show, it doesn't really make sense for both of us to spend 100 hours playing an RPG at the same time when there's so many games to cover. So JV is still going to hold the torch for this game, and you're going to be diving into it while I will probably have to... I might get around to it when there's another lull in games in the future, but for now, it's your task to play it.
Right, and I do think you would probably enjoy a game like this at some point, Casey. But yeah, we're in that point right now, and I do want to bring up the new story trailer that they released for Xenoblade Chronicles is very heavy on the details of what's happening, so it might be spoiler territory for some people.
It may be, maybe. I will say I'll mention the premise that they touch upon, though. I like the idea of the character's memories being a factor, that she's losing her memories, or they allude to the fact that every time she boots up or something like that, or like her memories could be wiped out. That's very dramatic. That's actually a very good mechanic, because I can imagine...
Yes, I can. Yeah, you can definitely see the drama.
Hey, just look at this. Has anyone here have you ever watched WALL-E?
Yes, I have.
That's a great love story, by the way, also. And one of the saddest moments in it, I'm allowed to spoil parts of that movie, it's been statute of limitations, is when they go through all the trouble of saving WALL-E's life, and then when they reboot him, he's as if he's like a new robot that's lost all his memories. And it's like, yeah, we saved his life, but it's not the same. It was like heart-wrenching to see that. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't know. It's like that's really
I know
good
what you mean. So, not that this is necessarily relevant, but have you seen Coco yet?
Coco? No.
That's a new Pixar movie about the Day of the Dead.
No, I don't. What? I have not seen it. I don't see too many movies. I'm not like a movie guy.
Oh, yeah, I know. But we were looking for a movie to see, and it's great. It broke my heart in a similar way.
My cousin was trying to over Thanksgiving. He was telling me to buy, like, they have these movie passes now.
Movie pass, yeah.
Yeah, like for what, like $8? You can watch as many movies as you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. I was considering picking that up myself.
Yeah, if you're the kind of person who sees at least 2 movies a month, that's definitely worth it. But
yeah, and you can see more movies than that.
And anyone's interested, I posted or I used for the Interstitials up to here some of the scenes from the soundtrack that they have been posting up for Xenoblade Chronicles. I liked this soundtrack. Also, kind of helped sell the mood of the game to me, and the English music, like the actual singing that was in English, was a nice addition there. Has a good feeling.
Yeah,
they also
it was kind of touching.
Also, just kind of related, I saw they also released a video showing the bands that do the music for Splatoon 2.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's so crazy to see the humans who sing the squid voices.
Isn't it crazy? I was looking at the video too, and I saw that the lady who was singing Pearl's voice and Marina's voice, they had the same hairstyle as the characters.
Yeah, they do, right? They do.
Isn't that cool?
It's pretty good. I like it.
And I loved how into making the audio those guys were. Mm-hmm. It was really cool when Pearl and Marino were singing into a microphone. Like, they had that attitude face while they were singing. Like, it was great.
I think I'll definitely link to all of those songs in the show description if anyone wants to check any of those out.
Yes,
definitely worth looking at. All right, down the pipe. We got a very big game confirmation today, actually, that I thought you would be interested in.
Oh, yeah. So, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is confirmed to be coming to the Switch, and even better, to North America.
Yes, and they had a little trailer, and it looks like it's going to be taking place, I think about half the Shin Megami Tenseis take place in, like, modern-day settings, which is a good change from in RPGs in general, I think is what a lot of people find attractive about these games.
Yeah, the Persona series is definitely a bit more popular than the standard Shin Megami Tensei line, but it does look like they're kind of pulling from that style a little bit into the proper S Megaten games.
Yeah, and then they showed, like, demons attacking people in the streets and some very dark stuff going on. So, yeah. But not much on the gameplay yet, but we'll see, I'm sure, in the soon future. It was more of a teaser just to let people know this exists. Go get hyped, all you JRPG fans.
Get hyped!
Also saw Wizard of Legend, which is it had a Hyper Light Drifter kind of action-y feel to it, but it's a 2-player simultaneous co-op adventure. I mean, you can play it 1 player, but that's also nice. Spell slinging. You have 100 different spells to use, procedurally generated levels. I have mixed feelings about those. And bosses and all that kind of stuff. Just kind of a cool looking pixely action top-down game.
It definitely harkens back to Hyper Light Drifter, it seems, but the gameplay is fast, and I just love how smooth the animations are, even for 2 characters at once.
Yeah. Looks good.
So, it looks fun.
Ukulele has been confirmed to be coming December 14th, so we're getting that pretty closely. And I'm curious to see how the Nintendo fan base reacts to this, if they're going to enjoy it more than people on other consoles have been reacting to it.
Well, apparently, Ukulele is actually developing primarily on the Nintendo Switch. The Switch is apparently the lead development platform for this game, so here's hoping that the performance problems in the other consoles don't translate.
I mean, it's, if they've been taking more time with it here, it's, if they've been using this time to optimize it for Switch, then that will be time well spent, and I definitely think people should go into it with an open mind and go in with a positive outlook for it.
Yes, I think this is going to be the platform to pick up this game. Here's hoping they follow through with that.
Yes. Okay, we got Black Hole coming 2018.
It's essentially a twin-stick arcade shooter with a set number of worlds and levels.
Gotcha. All right, sounds good.
So, yeah, twin-stick shooter.
Yeah. One More Dungeon, which is coming out February. I think we mentioned this 1 or 2 times before.
Yes, it's from Rata Laika Games.
Yeah, they usually send us stuff, so it's we'll probably get a copy of that. It's a first-person shooter roguelike. That's right. It kind of, again, procedure generated levels.
It actually kind of reminds me of Doom, the original classic Dooms.
Okay, yeah, it's like Doom with, like, pixel art, basically. I guess you could say that. And more straightforward dungeon designs.
Yeah, exactly.
And the game I'm really looking forward to, and I'm the more I look at it, the more this is really up my alley. The Longest 5 Minutes, coming in February, and this is by the same company that did Half Minute Hero, and and it fits because they're doing again something great with the whole short time limit thing. And in the new trailer, I got a little more feeling for what it's about, and it does something that I don't think a lot of games have found a way to pull off in terms of storytelling. The en media res kind of storytelling, where this game actually starts out with you're in a party about to fight the final boss. And there's the Demon King there, but your character just suddenly has a total lapse of amnesia, forgets everything, but he does have a superpower of recollection or re-experiencing things. And So you go into this and you don't know who these other characters are. You don't know why you're there fighting this guy. And you're piecing together how you got to this point by the characters saying stuff to you. You choose how you answer, and the way you choose to answer things kind of molds the history between you. And then you go flashback to scenes of how you got here, and that leads up. Like, you're going to go and re-experience those things, and that's how you reactivate your super attacks and your experience points and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to learn the story kind of like Memento backwards. You're going to like learn how you got to here as in the final 5 minutes before you fight this monster. It's just a really cool storytelling device, I think.
Yeah, this definitely seems like it's up your alley, especially considering it's a pixel style game coming from Nippon Ichi Software. Yeah, you love that stuff for sure.
Oh no, and I still say like Half Minute Hero is definitely on my like top 10 games of all time list.
Of all time.
Yeah, totally. It's a game, and I'm so sad when they took down that that leaderboard for it.
Because you were on there. You were on that leaderboard, Casey.
I wasn't on it. I was on top of it.
Okay? Nice.
I was the #1 Half Minute Hero player.
You were the heroist of Half Minute Heroes.
And I even called them. I even emailed them. I even emailed them when I saw there were hackers who like had like 0.0 seconds for like their times on stages. And I'd be like, no, they should not be taking my place. Get them off there. And they like eliminated all the hackers. And I became #1, baby. And I was just like so proud of myself.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious, Casey. You were that guy. No, these guys shall be removed from the leaderboards because they're obvious cheaters. I mean, it's valid. It's valid. It's a valid reason.
I worked hard to like perfect that game, man.
That's awesome. Okay, good job.
Anyway, and lastly, physical version of Overcooked Special Edition is coming February 13th.
Yeah, so that's fun. So for new releases, the releases within the past week are Worms WMD, Stick It to the Man, Transcripted, Neo Geo Soccer Brawl, Kid Trip, Mantis Burn Racing, Crimson Land, Resident Evil Revelations 1-2 collection. That's actually something that our Discord chat is getting pretty hyped about. Mm-hmm. And Star Ghost.
Outstanding. As of today, November 30th, we are getting Serial Cleaner, Neo Geo World Heroes, Siberia 2, Opus, The Day We Found Earth, Arcade Archive, Traverse USA, and Mujo.
On December 1st, which is this Friday, we're getting Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Boom.
So next week, starting December 5th, we're getting 9 Parchments, Caveman Warriors, and This Is the Police.
And finally, December 7th, we have Neo Geo Top Hunter, which I did take a look at. It's actually kind of a cool little brawler game where there's 2 paths, like a background and a foreground that you could jump between. And
it's not a shopping game? Where,
no,
where we're hunting for tops?
No, it's not a shopping game. It is a 2-player brawler game. Kind of feels like a fisticuffs version of Metal Slug.
Gotcha.
And Dimension Drive, Tesla Grad, and Human Fall Flat.
Human Fall Flat. All right.
Okay, let's go into the Community Pulse and wrap this show up.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we are in the Community Pulse. Let's kick it off with one of our regulars of this here, shall we? Yes. Peter J. Ortiz asks, do you guys have big backlogs of games you have yet to start or finish? If so, what do you plan on finishing?
Yes. The very nature of this podcast means we're not going to be able to finish absolutely every game we pick up.
Right. My biggest backlog right now, honestly, and I'll just say it's because of this, I still actually have a few games from Vita that I wanted to finish that I never got around to because I had to suspend all other play when I got my Switch.
What is that? What, the Vita?
I'll also say it was also on 3DS, but the game I really have to get around to beating is Virtue's Last Reward. I'm a big fan of the Zero Escape series.
Okay, yeah, those are great games.
And the sequel also came out on 3DS, Zero Time Dilemma. And I was really a big fan of that whole story and invested in the plot, but I never got around to finishing those. Everything I've been playing on the Switch, I've either found time to beat or I just knew I was going to review it and send it back to GameFly or something like that.
Right.
Anything I wanted to, I have made time for. But that's the thing. It's because I really want to be dedicated to playing Switch games to talk about here. It's that anything that I was invested in on other systems, I've had to kind of like cut off and maybe just say, maybe someday I'll go back and beat that game.
Right. For me, the specific game that I really wish I could finish is the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice game. That's that's Ace Attorney 6, and I picked it up for iOS, which came out, I believe, a couple months ago. And I've been digging it, but I just couldn't really get to finishing it.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, maybe there's a chance. I'm hoping that maybe the Zero Time Dilemma and the Zero Escape series might make a switch over to the Switch someday.
Yeah.
That's no longer officially a pun. That is, we use that enough that's just how we talk now.
It is. It's absolutely true.
Yeah. And you know, I think the Phoenix Wright series will adapt.
Yes,
someday.
I think it's confirmed that it's going to the Switch.
Yeah.
Previously, so yes,
yeah, that's right. We did mention that in last episode that you were on. I believe we announced that was coming over here, so we will see. I'll be curious to see how they switch it up for a single screen.
Yeah, I agree. So from Lawson Culver, do you think all of our Nintendo points will expire before Nintendo gives us anything Switch related to spend them on? Yeah, this has been happening a lot. There hasn't really been anything Switch-focused in the Nintendo point system. Even though we're getting a lot of Nintendo Switch games and racking up points from Nintendo Switch games, it's kind of unfortunate that we haven't gotten any Switch goodies to pick up with our points. So that's not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that is just annoying enough to actually happen that once like there's a gift that we really want, they'll like say, oh, but it's, you know, your points are going to expire like a week before those things and you're going to spend them all on something else first. And since now there's gifts that you really want, you're going to try extra hard to rack up those points. And that kind of just plays into what they're looking for. I'm still holding out hope. They'll be nice and generous to us.
And extend. I feel like I'm a little disappointed that the Nintendo points expire in the first place. I feel like there isn't really any need for that expiration.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little disappointing on that part. Stop dropping the ball on that, Nintendo.
Yeah. On a related topic, Benjamin Laville wrote, do you guys think Nintendo has been a little too quiet on their online service? I'd love to hear more as we go into 2018, but they've been awfully quiet.
I feel like they might make a big announcement in the future. It's a little disappointing as well that nothing has been announced for it. Ever since the actual launch of the app, we'll see how that goes.
I feel like they need to say something before Christmas. I feel like that's a big selling point, and it's going to be a thing to help push Christmas sales. So I'm concerned if they don't say anything before Christmas. That makes me think that they're still putting together what they want to put together. Hopefully, though, I think by January, I mean, it's possible they're just planning not to say anything until January, and then they'll bring it out. But I am a little concerned right now that they're just not totally got everything they want together. But hopefully, maybe there'll be a direct that comes out of nowhere next week and just dispels all of my worries.
Yeah,
but
I
that
agree.
needs to be the next. That needs to be the next direct they do. Seriously.
Yeah, seriously, that should come out soon. They should inform their customers about that. Mm-hmm. So from Renee Medina, he says, if you could bring one gamer series from PlayStation, which would it be and why? As a PlayStation gamer myself, I would have so many games that I'd love to bring over. But the one I think of immediately is the Persona series. I would love Persona 5 to come to the Switch. Absolutely.
That's actually good that you answered that here because, like I said, this is a question I think someone asks us every week. And last week I said .hack as a general game, but that was a PlayStation game. So I will adapt my answer from last week to this question. .hack, it's being rebooted. It's on PC and PlayStation right now. I think it would be a great time to get me back into playing the .hack series.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Jeffrey Kappenberg said, can you recommend some physical Switch games for $30 or less that would make good gifts? Yeah. That's something that we could definitely do for you, Jeff.
Yes, I would say that I would like to throw out some random ideas right now, but I think this is actually a very big topic that we should address formally. Perhaps next week we will do an actual buyer's guide. This has been suggested by a few people, and I think it would be good if we made a buyer's guide of Switch games and accessories that people can get for the different types of gamers in their lives.
Yeah, I think that would be really valuable, especially considering the holidays coming up soon. So we'll definitely dive deep into that question for you next week.
Yes, and hope you'll still have time to order them on Amazon by next week. So we promise to
or get them physically somewhere.
Yes. Neil Tracky wrote, if Nintendo keeps up their promised cadence of titles through 2018, what can we honestly expect? Could Metroid Prime 4 be ready in time for the holidays? I guess he means 2018. Will Yoshi be a spring title? Will the next Smash Brothers be a deluxe remake of Smash 4? Or will it be an entirely new outing? When will we get Animal Crossing? And he goes on.
Will I ever get over how freaking amazing the Switch is? No. No, we will never get it over it.
I don't. I think we are in a perpetual state of just excitement right now.
Yeah. Now, that's a very good question. There are a lot of games that we are looking forward to in the future. A Yoshi game, a Kirby game. We know Prime 4 is coming out. I do feel like those games can potentially come out next year. I feel like Yoshi and Kirby will definitely come out next year. Prime 4 could potentially be their holiday game. Smash might get an announcement and release late 2018, early 2019. But I feel like Nintendo is going to release a Nintendo Direct for us leading into the new 2018 year.
Yeah, I think next in January or shortly after the Christmas holiday, we're going to get the Direct and they're going to lay out at least 6 months worth of big titles that we're going to be expecting, though hopefully soon Nintendo, the pressure on them will be eased up and we'll start to see more of the third parties being able to come in with these showstopper titles at least one big title every other month to kind of take some of that pressure off Nintendo, that it's not only up to them to keep throwing out there these great first parties.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, I think they have enough first party licenses to cover next year, at least, mostly. So
they do. It doesn't seem like they're really hurting for games throughout the whole year, and I'm so glad I could say that for the Nintendo Switch.
Again, it's all about, they were pacing it out this year. They did not make the same mistakes of the past, and people who were complaining, oh, what a weak launch lineup. Yeah, it was the trade-off. We had a very narrow day one, and guess what? Day one lasted 24 hours, or 1 month, whatever, you know. But it's because of that we've all been following this cadence, and we have just this steady flow. And so why we could do this podcast, why we weren't able to just have one podcast the first month, cover 20 games, and then have nothing to talk about for 4 months.
Yeah, it's been really interesting ever since March, ever since launch. There's been a big game, maybe a bit of a lull, then a big game, maybe a bit of a lull, big game, lulls. But now there's really been a deluge of games, and it's hard to keep up with at this point.
Yeah, very much so. But we will have to get to keeping up with it now. We have to sign off for this week and get back to playing those games so we could talk about them next week. Shall we?
Absolutely. So, yes, to start off, please check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/theswitchcast. Join the review crew as well. Rate, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. We've got some awesome reviews, and I'd really love to bump those numbers up as well.
Yep, and I do want to have enough so that next week I can read off another 10 names of reviewers from the review crew on Apple there or wherever. So, yes, hope to meet that. We also, of course, I always say, listening to the podcast is great, but we have half the experience is listening to us, the other half is interacting with us and the rest of us on Discord. We have a great chat there. You can just do it through the browser or your iPhone app. Link to join the Discord chat is in the show description, along with a link to our Facebook group, which will also show you where the holiday tour is going on with the Switch and Mario Odyssey. And we also have a Twitter where we post up, lots of news that interests us, and we ask people to participate as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, HeatleyBros, for the theme music. And until next time,
switch it up!